The Gospel of the Matthew. He's only referring to his people, the Jews. He wants to teach his own people. Gospel of Luke, he says, you know what? My own people are no good. He makes his teachings universal. Gospel of John, he doesn't tell a single story. You know, in the Gospel of Mark, they're almost everything that he says in a story form. Everything. He only says, I am only twice. In the Gospel of Luke, he says, I am twice. In the Gospel of Matthew, he says, I am 5 times. In the Gospel of John, he says, I am almost 50 times. What happens in the Gospel of John? Not a single story. Why? Why do you not tell stories? If you have told 500 stories in Matthew, in Mark, in Luke, why not tell stories now? Because something happens to you, I think, as a human being as you get older and more mature and more seasoned. You realize that it's really, really difficult to teach people through language. So what you do is you become magical. Okay? Now, what does that mean? You turn water into wine. You multiply fish. You resurrect the dead. You say, I am God. Before Abraham, I was. That's what you do. In the Gospel of Judas, something profoundly interesting happens. It just says, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore. I need someone to rescue me. I have this spirit inside me that lives in this prison called my flesh. And every day I walk around, what do I see? I see homelessness. I see poverty. I see violence. I see people who are interested but don't have the resources to really become educated. I see all these things on a daily basis. The closest people don't understand me. This is too much. I don't want to do it anymore. And he goes to Judas and says, Judas, please give me to the Romans. Let them crucify me. Because once my flesh dies, my spirit, my soul will go back to God. It's no different than sometimes what you do. Let's say Washington is having an argument with his companion. He tries and he tries and he tries and he tries and he comes to realize she just doesn't listen, or he just doesn't listen, or it just doesn't listen. After a while he says, honey, I'm just going to go for a walk. He's told stories, it hasn't worked. He's remained quiet, it hasn't worked. He's listened, it hasn't worked. He's done all sorts of tricks, it hasn't worked. In the end, he says, I want to die to this conversation. I want my eyes to become blind so I don't have to see you anymore. My ears to be plugged so I don't have to see you or listen to you anymore. I just want to be gone. Okay? That's what all of us do when you try and you realize it's going nowhere. Okay? So, to go very far, you start with very near, which is a really, really, really difficult place to be. I will tell you another story, but let me just see if there are any questions out there. Washington, you have anything you want to ask? Are you sure? We're friends now, man. You sure? Okay, Charles?
I forgot. I think you talked about how in I am. You talked about the story.
Oh, you mean the Gospel of John?
I think I got confused.
There are a couple of things you need to understand about the importance of the Gospel of John, which is just an amazing thing. You know when you're talking to your dad and he has caught you doing something and you say, Dad, I am ashamed. For the first time, there is something about you that knows something about you and is concrete. This is like concrete, man. You know who you are. You know what you are. No one can change that. Even if your father says, son, I forgive you, you hold yourself accountable. You don't need Jesus to condemn you, man. You condemn yourself because you know. Forget the Gospel of John. Just remember this. I am. Do you know how difficult it is to get to I? Charles, listen to me, man. This is you. Okay? You think you know who you are. You have no clue. First, your parents give you identity. So a good amount of who you are, your parents. Okay? Then you live in America. Okay? And you have 5 senses: eyes, nose, ears, tongue, touch. 5. Okay? What do? All the things that you see, touch, hear, smell, taste, they become another part of you. If you smoke too much, I'm a smoker, I want to quit. If you sign up for a class and you drop out, I'm a dropout. So you are a collection of your experiences. That's what you are. Here's the thing you need to know about experiences. Have you seen that movie with Eddie Murphy and Dan Aykroyd called Trading Places? Oh man, you guys need to drop out of school and sit home and watch movies. And if you believe in reincarnation, pray to the gods that you will come back to a life where you are privileged enough to simply sit home, have in and out, and watch movies. Yeah. Now here's the thing. Dan Aykroyd is this white guy who is the vice president of this company. Eddie Murphy is a homeless man in the streets trying to get money from people. 2 old men in the bathroom make a bet. I bet that we can get our VP homeless and make the homeless into a VP. One says, no, it's never done. The other says, yeah, it is. And you realize that people are socially manufactured. You give yourself the label, I'm a student, I'm a Muslim, I'm a Christian, I'm a this, I'm a that. None of those things are you. These are just social impositions. And by the time you're 40, what happens is, I am Persian, I speak Persian, I like korma sabzi, okay? I am a husband, I am a father, I am a professor. You give yourself all these labels, okay? So today, you play this part where you're a father. 10 minutes later, you play this part where you're a this, another that. There is no constancy to your I. It's always changing. It's always shifting. What you have in the Gospel of John is a man who says, I am Jesus Christ. Christ means someone who has been anointed. You know, it's like your father telling you, son, I'm going to die. I'm leaving you $1 million. And that money is yours. When someone gets anointed, it means all the stuff that lives inside the belly of God now lives inside the belly of Jesus. He knows who he is. He knows what he is. And this is true of any Messiah, whether it's Malcolm X, James Baldwin, okay? Now remember, the story of James Baldwin, that in itself is quite interesting. A man, gay, in America, 40s, 50s, 60s, to come out and say, I am gay and I'm proud to be gay. That takes a good amount of courage, man. I'm not saying like today, people just say, I'm this or I'm that, because it makes them feel good. I'm not talking about that. How do you get to this thing called I? let me tell you how you get to this thing called I. Washington, are we good? All right, man. Forgive me, I have kids, so I just have a tendency of just, yeah. Because yeah. So. How do you get to this thing called I? My name is Amir, by the way. No, just Amir is good. Oh, we're not that close. I'm just kidding.
I don't know what to call you. I'm scared now.
It's all right.
But, so when you say how do we get to I, do other people define your I, and then you say, oh, this is who I am, or is it these people say I'm like this? Yeah, like is it like you're self-aware? Like what is I? Is it what people put on you, or is it what?
That's a really, really, really good question, but very, very, very difficult to answer. I will do my best. I am almost certain I will fail miserably, but let me give it a shot. Do you like onions?
Yeah.
No, you don't.
Yeah, I do.
On a date?
Is it cooked? Is it grilled?
No, just raw.
Not really.
See, I told you don't like onions. Now, now you have an onion. An onion has about, let's just say 60 layers. Okay? The first layer comes with your parents. The second layer comes with your friends. The third layer comes with watching TV. The fourth layer comes with going to school. The sixth layer comes with you wanting a car. And then, you remember all the stuff? They create their own desires, attachments, and fears. So, even that tiny little girl over there, she has about 20, 30 layers on her. Okay? Now add to it, you're like 18, 19, 20, you've had a couple of boyfriends or girlfriends, you've gone to school, you felt some disappointment, you've suffered a little bit, you have dreams and you have goals, okay? There comes a point where you say, there was a story about this Russian novelist, philosopher. His name was Leo Tolstoy. I don't know if you've heard of him. At the age of like 15, Tolstoy one day wakes up and says, and remember, this is a guy who's got a lot of money, a lot of power in life. Says, I don't like who I am, but I don't know who I am. So what do I do with this? He doesn't know what to do with it. He's far too young. So you know what he does? He distracts himself from the question. And when the question goes away, he doesn't have to think about it. At the age of 20, again, the question comes about, who am I? I don't like, what I see about myself. But he doesn't really have the tools to combat the question, so he pushes the question away. At the age of 30, the question comes up. And remember, the older you get, the more intense these questions become. It's like when you're 18, you're with your boyfriend, and once in a while you say, I don't really want to be with him, but you continue. But when you get to be 25, you look yourself in the mirror, you say, Amir, you're looking older, you're looking uglier, you're looking smellier. Do you really want to be with this guy? So it becomes more intense. There comes a point for Tolstoy at the age of about 30 or so, 35, 36. The question is like an avalanche, like a tsunami. It hits him. And what happens, he gets really, really depressed. Why? I want to tell you a story. A few months ago, I went to the doctor just to regular checkup. I got cancer. Now, When you hear that you have cancer, what happens? What? You think you're a professor? What? You think you're a father, a son? You think what you say in classes mean anything? You think what? People's questions mean anything? I am now intimate with death. And when you become intimate with death, it means the following. Death is like a quicksand. It swallows everything. You think yourself to be smart, you're not that smart. You think you're important, you're not that important. You think yourself to be a great husband, no. You think yourself to be a great father, no. You think that you have this insight as to how to use time really, really well. No, I don't. And death forces you to go back in time and examine everything that you have done. And you realize, man, I wasted so much time. I did all sorts of wrong things with my wife. I argued for silly reasons. I didn't take my kids to the park for all the wrong reasons. Okay? Almost 90% of my life is wrong. And if death can kind of do that to your life, then you sit back and you say, okay, I thought I am all of this stuff. And you know what this stuff does? It gives you meaning. It gives you purpose. Are you a Muslim?
Yeah.
No, you're not.
How do you know?
See? That's my point. You become attached to an idea. And then I say you're not. What do? You grab onto it tighter. Why? Because if you didn't claim yourself to be a Muslim, if you didn't believe in Quran, if you didn't believe in Allah, if you didn't believe in the moral codes given to you by Muhammad, by the Quran, by your tradition, what the hell becomes of you? What do you believe in? What is right and wrong? And that's a very, very dangerous place to be. You know what that does then, Amir? Like an onion, it gets rid of your religion. It gets rid of whatever your identity may be and puts you right here. And you know what lives inside this? Nothing. You are nothing. All the things you believed yourself to be, you come to realize it was a figment of your imagination. And what do you do when you realize you can't grab onto anything? To give yourself meaning, identity, purpose to wake up. You know what happens to you? I'll tell you what's going to happen to you. You're going to get frustrated. And then you know what's going to happen to you. Then you're going to get confused. Then you know what's going to happen to you. Then you're going to become anxious. Then you know what you're going to do. Then you're going to be upset. Then you know what's going to happen to you. Then you're going to be angry. Then you're going to be enraged. And eventually you'll become violent, either towards yourself or other people. Allahu Akbar.
I have a question. So, you said intimacy with death. So, could it be like somebody close to you dying?
No.
When you like, it has to be you yourself?
Look, whenever something devastating happens, whether you see homelessness and you happen to be at this, like you're in this mood this morning, right? And you see the same homeless person on the road, it doesn't really impact you that much. But today, there is something about your mood. You just wake up and you feel funny about yourself. And this homeless person just looks at you. And something about you breaks open. And you say, Amir, this guy has nothing. You have everything. It's not much, but you have a lot of stuff. Be grateful. Okay? So, the problem is this. See, you can have inspired moments, okay? And then you can be in a committed relationship. And let me tell you what the difference is. It may be that you're sitting in this class. I don't know how you feel about me or this class or the things I say. You may not like them, or you may be inspired by them. It makes you think and reflect and question. It's going to be 10:45 in a few minutes. You're going to leave. Out there in the world, you got to go home and take care of your parents. You got to take your dog for a walk. All right? You have your life. It's going to be busy. And you know what's going to happen to this inspiration in the world that's very busy for you? You're going to forget it. And you may go home and you may talk about your mom, about our conversation for a few minutes. And then again, you'll forget it because life is busy. Commitment means the following. As you leave the classroom, you say, Amber, don't forget. But not to forget means you need alarm clock to wake you up constantly. How do you keep yourself from forgetting? You think this is the first time that Rock over there says, I want to quit smoking? Every person who's ever become addicted to anything, every person who's ever wanted to quit something, it's not their first time that says, I want to quit this or quit that. They've tried many, many times, but they forget. A commitment means this. He can have a fight with his companion. He knows he's got to go home. He's got to take her out, buy her flowers, clean the house. If it gets really, really bad, he's going to pack up and leave. And hopefully he'll just forget the entire thing after a few months or years. And the thing you need to understand, do you do barbecue?
Yeah.
No, you don't.
Okay.
Do you?
I don't make it.
Okay, so this is what you do. Go home and try this. Get one piece of charcoal, put some lighter fluid on it. And then when you're done putting the fluid, immediately put a match to it. What do you see?
Fire.
There you go. How long is it going to last?
I don't know how long.
I don't know, 5 seconds? 10 seconds? That's called inspiration.
Yeah.
Now, how do you make the charcoal be on fire?
Gas.
What else?
The bash.
You fan it.
Oh.
Yeah? And what happens is it starts with a tiny corner being red. As you fan it, this red spot grows bigger and bigger and bigger. And all of a sudden you realize something really interesting. The charcoal is on fire from inside. And it slowly comes out and covers the rest of it. That's called commitment. Allahu Akbar.
Do you inspire? Do you nurture your inspiration?
Oh no, you can never do that.
Yeah, so like if I have
No.
But it's not my own. I got inspired by something.
Anyone who has inspired you, if you show interest, they become responsible for keeping that inspiration alive. Look, were you thinking about this stuff before coming to class?
No.
Of course not. Who made this happen for you?
You did.
There you go.
You just want to hear that?
No, it's not that. It's just a matter of, it's just a fact.
It's just fact.
Yeah. I mean, you go to Starbucks, you're working there, you're in a good mood, a customer comes, looks at you and flips you off. Who made you angry? You did? No, your customer did. People out there are the creators of who and what they are. Right now, he's calm, he's cool, he's collected. Let me say something derogatory to him, something mean to him. What's going to happen to him? He's going to flip. Who made that? I did. Who is the creator of his anger? I am. Who is the creator of his confusion? I am. Is there an I to him? No, man. There's no I to him. I can make him anywhere I wish. Okay? Now let's say you come to me after class and say, Amir, this is great. What books should I read? What things should I listen to? And I'll give you a list. But here's what you will realize. Have you seen that movie, Enter the Dragon? At the very, very beginning of the movie, there is Bruce Lee. He's about to fight this guy. This guy takes a piece of board and just punches it, and the board shatters into like 1,000,000 pieces. And Bruce Lee very calmly looks at him and says, boards don't hit back. And the guy doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. They get into a fight and he gets his behind whooped. Okay? What you realize is this: you can go home and sit and read a book, but the books don't create the sort of emotions that you experience in this class. They may once in a while, but it's very rare. So you say, let me walk and listen to some audio lectures or audio books. You'll find paragraphs or a minute here, a minute there, but eventually you'll forget. You say, how is it that when I walk into this class, I am like fully awake for at least an hour and a half, but the moment I step out, I forget. When I read books, I forget. When I listen, I forget. So you come to me and say, Amir, did you mind if I just sit in your classes all day? And remember, I've had students. I used to teach 4 classes a day. So I had, in summertime, 9 to 12, 1 to 3, 6 to 9. And I had like 15 to 20 students who would come just to sit. 9 all the way to 9 at night. And if I still had energy, we would all go to Akukule in Berkeley, sit, have coffee, have some food, and at 2 in the morning I would go home. Okay? And then something really interesting is going to happen to you, Amber. You got friends? You got a boyfriend?
No.
Let's just say yes. You got a boyfriend?
Yeah.
Good job. You got parents?
Yeah.
You know what's going to happen when you keep coming to this class?
I know.
I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. You're going to start to feel the way I feel about things. You're going to start to think the way I think about things. And then when you go out with your friends and they talk about relationship, you're going to say, so Joanne or Layla, don't you think like love has all these other components? And they say, Amber, you're ruining this. I'm no longer having fun. How long do you think it's going to take before they delete your number from their cell phone?
Probably right after.
There you go. You may be 20, but if you stay in this class constantly, committedly, for about 2 years, I assure you, you're going to have feelings and the thinking process of a man who is 60. You will no longer be 20. And you know what's going to happen to you? You're a woman, you want companionship. A dog will do for the next couple of years, but eventually you want to find a man in your life. You think what? You can find a 20-year-old, a 30-year-old, a 40-year-old? You're going to find a 50-year-old who's mature in thinking and feeling, has stability. And then you're going to find yourself in this problem. I'm 20. Why am I hanging out with like a 50-year-old? Well, go back to the 20-year-old world. You realize you can't survive it. People are stupid. My apologies. Right? And then you're going to take this man to your mom. Your mom says, this guy's older than your father. You want to marry him? No, we forbid you. And now you're going to have issues on your hand. And the thing you need to understand is this. Ignorance is always, always, always bliss. Why? You're not responsible for anything. It's the moment that you know. I mean, read Genesis. You know what God says in Genesis? You can even read that in the Quran. It's the same thing. Huge garden. Lots of trees. God says what? Go anywhere. Do anything. Eat any fruit. Look at any fruit. Doesn't really matter. But there is over there, that one. Don't go. Don't go to that one. Just don't go there. And what happens? What's that tree, Amber? Knowledge. Knowledge. It's only when you know that you get tossed out. Imagine you have a boyfriend. You love him. You do everything he says. But when you go and visit him, you realize that once in a while, he puts something under the mattress. And he says, I trust you, honey. You have the keys to my house. You go anywhere, do whatever. Don't look under the mattress. But here's the thing you need to know. We are curious animals. We are condemned to be curious. So what do? You pick up the mattress and you see a book. What's in the book? It's a big house. You can go anywhere. But no, you choose the mattress. What do you read? Last night, I went with Juliana. Whoa, my God! I trusted him. Now I know. What happens when you know? You get pushed out of love, pushed out of trust, pushed out of faith. What happens to your dreams about getting married to him? Out. What happens to your liking him? Out. So when people say, I am born in sin, not true. You are born in sin only if you have knowledge. When someone says, God said that your life is going to be difficult, you say, not true. Only if you have knowledge. She's 18. She cares for the earth. And it's not an inspired moment. She's liked caring for this place for a long, long time. She puts time, energy, thought into it. Once in a while, she likes to go out and hang out with her friends who just like trash the streets. And she's conflicted. Should I stick around with them? Should I tell them they suck as human beings? But if I tell them, I'll have no friends. But I can't stand to watch them putting trash everywhere. What do? This is what happens when you care, when you become curious, when you respect your curiosity, and when you take action. I'm not talking about just believing in things. That's nonsense. You fall, really. You really, really fall when you begin to ask questions in the right way and think in the right way. Have a nice day. We'll see you next week. Tuesday, Wednesday, or Monday.